Fibers. I am Mindy and I'm living intentionally. So let me tell you about this day that was heaven sent to me yesterday. And I had to go to the bank. And I went to the bank. And in the space between deciding to go to the bank and my ride picking me up to go to the bank, pain reared ugly in my body. And I had to medicate with something. That something was not in effect when I was done at the bank. It was like a 2-minute thing at the bank. And I was not able to tolerate getting back on my transit. Now, added to this is the awareness that when I got on the transit, the woman driver remarked that some people's wheelchairs do not fit properly in her van, and she was worried that mine wouldn't because it's rather large and intimidating. And as we waited for whoever else at my complex was coming, she said also that some people need medical transport, and that she has been in experiences where the passenger is crying out in pain. And so having just like, she had been put through something that was like obviously traumatic for her. I think that's why she's speaking on it. And problematic, like the system is overburdened. We don't know what to do with the disabled and suffering among us. We do not. The system is full of holes, and people fall into those holes. That's not fair. But it's also not fair to subject her to something if I can control it. Now, given that awareness, I also do not want to be on that vehicle and have it exacerbating my pain with every turn that it makes, So what I did was just went wandering. Now, wandering, mind you, at like such a slow pace in my Empower chair that to the naked eye or a driving passerby, I might not even be moving. As it so happens, the path that I took had a portion where there was no sidewalk, and I had to be in the street because of some construction. I believe it was construction, not just a sidewalk ended. And while I was just on the street, just crying, like facing forward. But I mean, like, I guess what I'm saying is that my body language or something communicated distress to this person who stopped, pulled his car over, and asked me if I was okay and if he could do anything for me. And the thing is that no one really can. I know that many of you wish it were so, that you could take my pain, but I would not give it to you. It is my pain. I would not wish it upon anyone that I know. And see, maybe I'm wrong in that. But all that I could think to say was like, you can pray for me. Like, people take solace that they can do something. You want to feel like you can do something. My caretaker ex-boyfriend, like former, domestic abuser, verbally, emotionally, psychologically person because of his trauma himself, like, he doesn't feel like he can do anything. People who give over to prayer, they feel like they're doing something even when physically they're not. And people take comfort in that. So I said that, and I said, my name is Mindy. He said, Missy? Like, no, Mindy. And he said, Mindy, I will pray for you. And he went on his way. Maybe a block later, I got back on the sidewalk, and maybe a block later than that, I'm not really sure. I'm moving so slowly, and my entire world is just consumed with pain. So, I'm not sure exactly the deets, but this is the truth. So be it. I there was this weird gap in the sidewalk. You know, like sidewalk is panels, like squares of concrete. It was like one of them had been just like plucked up by a monster or something, and it was gravelly rocks, but the curb was intact on the right side. And so I thought, um, okay, I can do this, and I lined up my right wheels, front wheel and back wheel, so that I went along it. Well, something went wrong while I was doing that, and I do not know now what exactly happened, because through all like examinings of the situation, I thought I had problem solved through this, and I thought that I could make it, but I didn't. And the left side went down into those rocks, and in those rocks, trying to go forward in my Empower chair, literally was just spinning my wheels. Digging deeper into the dirt, the rocks just dug deeper into the dirt on the left side, and the right side rose. And I was stuck. I was stranded. I could not so much as move in my Empower chair because of my physical pain. And I happened to be in front of a school, and this happened to have taken place directly in front of the principal's parking spot. I can hypothesize that somebody put something so profane there that they had to pluck the rock in order to save the purity of the children. I do not know. I don't know what could have happened. That's just hypothesizing, like, after the fact. In the moment, I'm using the pole, the signpost that says this is the principal's parking spot, to try to like push, and I'm not getting anywhere. Now, I'm not doing that 5 minutes before behind me someone calls, "Are you all right?" And I look to see, and there's this older gentleman, like a big bear of a guy. He'd be a great Santa Claus. And he's like, "Can I help you?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. This is a very heavy chair." And this man, he does not give up. He does not relent. And in short order, he has somehow lifted me in my chair, which, like, it's a huge heavy duty chair. People can't lift this chair, you guys, back on to the sidewalk so that I can be on my way. And he says his name is Paul. And I look up and around, and where am I? The school I'm in front of is Holy Cross Catholic School. Can't make this up. And so, feeling cradled in the arms of creation, blessed by God and everything, like, I'm like, oh, okay. I've got more of a song in my heart, and I write a little bit about it, and I don't have that in front of me right now, but that's okay. What was it? It was Paul, pallbearer, feather wearer. I don't know. It was also significant because the day before this, I had come across something in unpacking my life for the final time, for the last time, like a letter of my mom extolling the virtues of her boyfriend Paul, who Paul sustained my mother in a way that I cannot understand except to acknowledge that people access consciousness of saintlyhood and yes. So Paul, and this guy's name is Paul, and I get to a main intersection, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, that used to be Metcalf South, but that's not there anymore. So, like, that's the orientation that I have, which is a very old orientation, because new things don't go in, really. That's part of, like, my brain damage. And so in need of some guidance, because I don't know which way to turn at this intersection, and I'm also not going anywhere, remember? Like, I'm just wandering. I take a cue because on the left it says Shamrock something. It's March. I just had a blessed St. Patrick's Day. I might as well march that way. And so I went that way, and lo and behold, did I find myself in front of a micro center, and I was like, I do not know if that is the one. There are several micro centers, but whether it is or isn't, I'm walking through that door, and asking the first person that I see if they know Steve Castro. So I beeline. Oh, you beeline. Yes, that's how you do. I beeline there, the greeter. Hello, can I help you? Do you know Steve Castro? And he says he would be in the back with desktops and laptops if he's here today, but I don't know if he's here today. Well, sure enough, I get back there and Steve Castro is there, and he waves to me, and I wait for him to finish up with his customer, and he comes over and he's like, "Hi, how are you?" And I look him in the eye and I say, "For the first time in my life, Steve, I can look someone in the eye and tell them that I am good, I've never been better, and I'm going to be okay. And I'm here to ask you about my dad." And he's got more customers, and then he comes back. And while he's got customers, I'm trying not to cry because I want to talk to my dad's best friend about my dad, and that's why I'm here doing this. And it's intense, right? Like I didn't set out to do that yesterday. I didn't try to go there. I didn't try to begin that undertaking like so yeah. I'm sitting there like trying not to cry. It's like, oh wow, I was not prepared for this. Like I don't have a speech. I don't have that script in front of me that's like an armor when you're approaching difficult situations, right? And so trying not to cry, I'm looking up, and to the left is a speaker, and like I become aware then of a music playing in the background that I tune into, and like it's some country sounding thing about God, and I'm like, uh-huh, all right, yes. Divinely guided, yes, I was, I understand, okay, like you don't need to prove anything to me. But I guess I have this story for you. So Steve finishes, and he comes over and is like, "So how are you doing?" And I was like, he's like, "I have not heard from your dad, Mindy." And I was like, "Well, I did not expect that you would. And I'd like to get caught up with you." And then the thing is that like, I don't know how to say anything that is like not alarming, not concerning, like getting caught up with me, that's a whole lot of darkness to get through before we arrive at the light and radiant being that stands before you, and you don't do that while someone's on shift in micro center pouring tears, like, so trying to make, some kind of conversation be had. He's like, "Well, how's the family? How's your brother? How's your mom?" And Anna's like, "My brother's been missing for at least 6 years now." And he's just like, "Missing? What do you mean missing?" And I was like, "Oh, Steve, we have so much catching up to do." Yeah, Brian's missing. And and my mom, she lives in Independence now, and she's a fair weather friend, but she and I have the better relationship than we've had in my entire life, honestly. Just that I can call her and ask her some dumb thing that you would call your mom for. Like, that's amazing. That I never would have thought that I would have had that with her. And so, I had those good things to relate, and he gave me his number, and we're going to do this. But like, I didn't intend to be starting that project, but I'm ready for that project because I'm good. My basic needs of food, roof, and safety are met for the first time in my entire life. So I'm ready to dive in and do the dirty work. You got to do the dirty work to get clean, yo. So I have that experience, and like I've got his number. It's really similar to my former best friend's number, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna remember this because I know her number so well. This is just a couple numbers difference, and I'm gonna remember his number." Yeah. But I also write it like in succession, like a lot of times, because I have to. The average person needs eight repetitions to retain something to their memory. Well, I am not of average intelligence no more. I need a lot more than 8. I wrote it probably more than 8 times. But anyway, so I go off and I'm like, where am I now? Oh, that is Whole Foods over here. Whole Foods isn't over here. Vintage Stock and Natural Grocers are. And faced between Vintage Stock and Natural Grocers, well, Natural Grocers. Am I hungry right now? No. Do I need groceries? No, I do not. And in addition to this, I had already set the intention to be at that Vintage Stock with a friend, and I'm thinking, like, well, if I was supposed to be at Vintage Stock, or I had planned to be at Vintage Stock with Sean, then Sean's soul shining so brightly, then there shall I go towards the light. And so I went to Vintage Stock. Vintage Stock wasn't open, so I'm just parked in front of Vintage Stock in my chair, waiting for it to open. And a guy comes out. He's carrying like a broken overhead light, and I'm like, yeah. and he's fire. He's attractive. He's incredibly attractive. He's animated, and he cannot get back into the store when he comes back. Like the key doesn't work, and I'm like, is this normal? And he's like, yeah, unfortunately. But like he takes it in stride. Like it's just part of it. Like he works at Vintage Stock. I think clearly he loves his job if he's like tinkering and playing for his own amusement. Like it's not because I'm there. Like he hardly acknowledges me really. And that's clear. And then his like good luck charm like shows up, I guess, cuz he's like, like yes, you're here. And with the two of them there, with the unified set intention consciousness focused in one spot similarly, then the lock turns and they get in, and I wait, and I I had like the time of my life at Vintage Stock yesterday. I was there like almost open to close. I left like 15 minutes or something before close. And uh I hung out there. I didn't expect to be there, but there are things that I need from Vintage Stock. Like I've been trying to get to Vintage Stock. See, someone's been kind enough to take me to the grocery store, but that someone cannot tolerate my presence beyond what my basic needs met are. And my peace of mind is not a basic need to this person either, and hence problematic situation wherein I do not feel safe and I can't get my feet under me because I'm constantly re-traumatized by the cruelty of this person who sometimes acts as my friend and sometimes acts as my enemy, right? So Natural Grocers is my grocery store. I've been going there and being like, do you think today you want to go in Vintage Stock? Do you think we can do that today? But no, never could we do that today. Never could I do that with him. And that's fine. That's fine. The longer you wait for something, the more patient you are in through that duration of the wait. Like the more beautifully the dominoes fall to manifest your opulent reality. So that's like I'm so geeked about my day. And it's not even just that. Like I'm not even done yet. Okay. So I'm in like too much pain to even like really process what's going on at first because my medicine has not kicked in at that point. And I'm like, questionably should I even be in here because like I might be crying soon. But one of the workers who shows up at some point, like he's just there to my awareness. I'm like inching through, and then he's just there and perfectly happy to assist me, answer any questions, like in no there's no question I'm not bothering him. He's enjoying my company and conversation and doesn't mind that I have more needs than a normal customer. I don't know how to make this story, like, long story short. I came away with Trick or Treat on DVD. I can get System of a Down self-titled album delivered to me. However, he was like, "Oh, we should have that on vinyl," and I was like, okay, but my reaction was, you think you have it on vinyl. Your system thinks you have it on vinyl. Put that in my hand right now. He could not do that, but he looked for it. Really diligent search. Looked for it, but didn't find it. And so it was just, like, it was just so great. And I didn't feel like I was, like, unwelcome. So every like pretty much every time I went up and I asked him something, as soon as I turned away from him, I remembered another thing. So I actually looked for, like, quite a few things. I looked for Virtua Fighter 5. I looked for Eternal Darkness. I looked for, what else did I look for? It's so hard to remember things. What else did I look for? Oh, Mortal Kombat 2 soundtrack. Yeah, so it was really, really good times, and, like, the camaraderie and, like, the family, like, they are so tight-knit. Like, it's seriously like being able to witness my GameStop family, like, from the outside. Like, exactly. It's like, here is just, like, the same cast. Like, no joke, dude. Like, Aaron, Jordan, Scotty P, and me. Like, it was incredible. It was incredible. And I'm telling you, just being able to witness them having, like, natural platonic contact and interactions and playing off one another, like, that, even though I wasn't getting touch, like, it felt like the universe was hugging me. It felt like my soul was fed by being in the radiant light of this crew at this retail establishment. Like, yeah, that's the real of it. And so I just, like, continued to hang out there, and then I had to use the restroom, and I thought, like, I thought that Whole Foods was over there. It's long gone. And but I passed First Watch, and I was like, okay, well, I'll go in there and use the restroom. Maybe they'll have something that I can eat, maybe not. But I used the restroom, and oh, lo and behold, they did have something. They had a kale juice thing. And then I broke diet and ordered French toast, which was, like, nothing to write home about. I won't do it again if I remember that it was completely unsatisfying, and I would have much rather had the, is that something in my nose? I think it's just skin. Yeah. I would much rather have had the vegan gluten-free French toast that my ex-boyfriend used to make for me, which I have not mastered that recipe myself. It's a bit tricky. He's also just, like cooking, like, intuitively can prepare food amazingly. So there's that. Hi baby, my baby. And so me with a menu, though, very hard. I was there for a very long time. I had plenty of time. Like, I invited everyone that I knew locally who could possibly show up. Did I think that anyone would come? No. I did not think that anyone was going to drop what they were doing and rush to have breakfast with me on Saturday morning. But I figured that I could get somebody on the line and, like, have a companion remotely, and indeed that is how it played out. And it was my friend who I spoke of earlier in another video, who also, like, has a new relationship with Christ and God. So that was good. Like, just, like, okay, he and I both have traumatic brain injury. Like, we're both brain damaged, and, like, have made questionable choices in our past, and were born into darkness just by the blood of our family, by the blood of our line. We are cursed. And so we have a lot in common, but like, dude, like the way this guy talks, like, just like lights me up. And like, for the first time in talking to him, like sitting in this restaurant, like trying to order food, it like pings like, oh no, like that might be like more than friend feels, like this might be flirting, like I need to define, like we need to define this, like I need to define this for myself, and not allow you know, that screen, that veil of like infatuation, like crush, like that is crushing for me. Like if I think a guy is cute, then like I can barely function around them. Like, and here's the thing is that like I'm just like really really hard up for action. Like I am like I haven't had it for 10 years, and I'm just hard up, like so it's in my awareness because I'm so untouched. And like it like how horny would you be if you went without sex for like a month? Yeah, well, do that for 10 years and then get back to me, and you have an idea of how difficult it can be to just interact with someone and not take it to a place of being sexually predatory towards them if you vibe on them. It's not easy. It's not easy. But we's just funnin', and the menu, like I asked for a kids menu and they bring it to me, and it's like folded up like this puzzle. I've got one hand that I can do everything. I'm one-handed, left-handed. I'm not left-handed. I'm remarkably ambidextrous, of course, but I cannot get the paper thing open. But there's part of like a puzzle that you can see on it, and it's like got those dotted lines. Well, immediately in those dotted lines, I see the name of the guy I'm talking to, and so I used the crappy little waxy crowns that are not Crayola, of course, at first watch, to make his name, and I take a picture and show the name, and I and I just do me, and I just like enjoy my time, and the waitress is really good for my server, is really good to me. And somebody comes by, Claudia comes by, and she's like, I just like how you look, and like you're so happy, like makes me happy. And I was like, I like to look in the mirror and make myself happy, like yay. It was just a yay moment with that little connection. And like I have been doing my entire life, with the remaining portion on my plate, I create art in appreciation of my server. And I mean my entire life I have done this. So I think that there's probably like a dismissal of this behavior of mine because of the media phenomena, social media, and like Instagram. Like I'm not doing that for Instagram. In fact, I didn't take a picture of the thank you and my signature by it at all. I've always done that. And the only person you can ask is my mom, but she will tell you that's not true. Erin has definitely seen me like create art on my plate. Maybe just for family gatherings where like my grandma cooked, but anyway, I ordered French toast with berries on it. I had to special order it with gluten-free toast. Like I saw that they had gluten-free toast, and I was like, "Can you make French toast with gluten-free toast? Like maybe I can eat that." And that is eggs and milk, and I like shouldn't have that. Shouldn't have had that. Well, and already have consequences for it. Like I'm phlegmy today, and I think you can hear that my voice is, impacted. But that they were willing to do that. They were able to do that, and like I'm so appreciative. But the berries were not blueberries, blackberries, not raspberries even. It was strawberries. And like I think normally I like strawberries, but today I was like, oh, like maybe strawberries with French toast is just like not my jam. But nah. Like I couldn't like I couldn't eat them. So I have like all of these little cut strawberries to play with, and it's like, well, all right, and I make a red heart on my plate, and you know, everything is meant to be. Everything is meant to be. You are gonna get geeked if you like live like me, but everything is meant to be. And so I had a lovely breakfast, and then I go back to vintage stock, and like with food in my system, and like my medicine is working. My medicine is working. I'm able to just like be me, get my feet under, and like play with them. Absolutely play with them. Like, um, just, you know, like making little comments and jokes, and I'm punny, I'm clever, I'm smart. They had a remarkable day. Like somebody left like a a solid collection of Famicom games, and I'm like looking at them, and I'm like, I know I should know what this is. Like I feel like this is really good and you shouldn't throw this away, and they look it up, and it is not garbage, you know. And just dude, like this one employee that was like really, you know, accommodating and kind, like it got to be where it's just like, oh, now I don't have a question, now I just want to hang out with you. And I like literally I tell him, this happens where people neglect their job and they get reprimanded, they get in trouble because I'm there. Do not let that happen. Do not neglect your job because I'm here. I told him that. It only started to happen a little bit, and then one time he turned away from something that he had to do because he thought I said something. That was remarkable. And he's remarkable. I'm so excited. Like so excited. Just such an interesting genuine person. And he's the assistant store manager. And the other guy is the store manager. The store manager's just like, I mean, I want to work there so bad. Like the environment is like up, so up, and then the other two employees, like I adore them all. Like I don't know who's my favorite. Like probably Kay, but like oh like just like oh that's so precious. Like just these kids at this store, like living their best life, living the dream, certainly my dream. I've applied at vintage stock on several occasions. You know, when I quit GameStop after my brain injury because I couldn't do it anymore, I wanted to, you know, I wanted to still be in that world. So I applied at vintage stock and I applied at GameCo. Vintage stock just wasn't hiring, didn't want to hire me at the time. I guess it's worth noting that when I had my friend roommate before he became abusive, and that's the friend roommate who raped me, and I didn't realize that I had been raped because like, oh no, that was my fault, but like no, then Me Too happened, and it's like, oh no, I was raped, and oh dude, I am also a rapist. Like dude, yeah. And yesterday morning also, like I had conversation with one of my friends who's like not especially woke, and like he was like, men always want sex, like you can't rape a man, Mindy. And I was like, oh well, you need to Google that because women can absolutely rape men. Like consent needs to be given. Like he's not as aware of consent culture as he could be, should be. And I think that men sometimes have this problem. I guess we've there's been some divergence. I've become somewhat tangential, I suppose. Are you stuck, baby? Are you stuck, baby? You want to groom? You want to groom? Do you see him reaching? You want to groom? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Huh? What is it? What is it? Just want me to hold your hand? Okay, just wants me to hold his hand. Okay, so I think that one of the reasons it's difficult for men to accept this update to the programming of their childhood and their adolescence is because men are often violated by women, and in order to know that, they must also simultaneously own that they have been violated. And I think that's very difficult. So yeah, perfect day, just perfect life. Always was. I can't wait to go back. It's by my grocery store. Like now grocery day just got a lot better. And oh baby, what's Did you eat your hair? Did you eat your hair? Was that necessary? I don't think you needed to eat it. I don't think that you needed to eat it. I don't think that you needed to eat it. Look at his little legs. Well, I should go. I'm meeting a friend today and then meeting Mary, who brought me water when my former boyfriend, he's the only one who's been caretaking of me, but not been doing that, very well. Didn't bring me water, and I needed water. She brought me water, and at my front door, after praying for me in the park and telling me she's going to bring me water, she hands me her business card, and she's a pastor. So I'm meeting her today in the park. I'm meeting her today in the park with my friend. Yes, I am. I have so many friends, Grim. I hardly get to see him. So many friends, I hardly get to see him. And also just so much opportunity to be in service to others and contribute to my community as best that I can, and in a tower of disabled and elderly people. Meow! What? He's grumpy now. He's grumpy now. Oh, look at that grump face. Look at that grump face. What do you want, baby? Oh, do you need to go to the bathroom? It might be time to feed him, so I should do that. Thanks for watching. Love and light. If you dig my vibe, subscribe. Bye-bye.